Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening. It's Tuesday, August 24th. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. The fate of 24 local students up in the air tonight. They're stuck in Afghanistan. Their dilemma comes as President Biden doubles down on his evacuation plans. KPBS reporter Alexandra Rangel begins our coverage.
The Cajon Valley School District started the school year with a piece of their family missing. 23 of their students are stranded in Afghanistan and haven't been able to make it back to school. District officials say the families traveled to visit family for summer break and were left without a flight back home following the Taliban's takeover of Kabul.
They were trying to actually get back here. They had flights to get back here. They were going to the airport, and the situation occurred.
Michael Serbin is the director of family community engagement at Cajon Valley. His team works with immigrant and refugee families in the district. They've made contact with families and are working with the federal government to help bring them home. He says all they have is hope.
We're doing everything we can and pouring out our hopes and our desires that they are able to come back. But right now, all we have is hope.
Meanwhile, time is running out as the U.S. deadline to evacuate American citizens and Afghans from Kabul is only a week away. President Biden said on Tuesday that the U.S. is on pace to pull out by the deadline. However, lawmakers are asking national security officials to extend that date. U.S. Rep. Andy Kim says the current situation calls for an extension.
I, for one, believe that we should have them reconsider even for our Afghan partners, and I think that that's a tall enough responsibility for us to be able to do so.
According to the White House, more than 4,000 U.S. citizens plus their families remain to be evacuated. Alexandra Rangel, KPBS News.
President Joe Biden is defending his decision to evacuate troops from Afghanistan by the end of the month. As Isabel Rosales reports, the president is facing mounting pressure from world leaders to extend U.S. presence in the country.
Just 1 week away from the critical deadline to withdraw all U.S. troops from Afghanistan, President Joe Biden is sticking to the timeline.
We are currently on a pace to finish by August the 31st. The sooner we can finish, the better.
Biden's decision shaped by the risks of remaining in Afghanistan past August 31st. The Taliban has described the date as a red line and threatened consequences if the White House delays.
I've asked the Pentagon and the State Department for contingency plans to adjust the timetable should that become necessary. I'm determined to ensure that we complete our mission, this mission.
His choice comes despite growing pressure from G7 leaders who met virtually Tuesday and lawmakers at home to extend the deadline.
Several leaders during the G7 meeting have expressed concerns about this timing. They told us that for them it's very important to try to extend this timing.
There's no possible way that we can get every American that's still in Afghanistan out in the next 7 days.
Ramped up evacuations. Despite more than 21,000 people flown out in a period of 24 hours, the situation remains desperate in Afghanistan.
The shift of power is fully in the Taliban's court for any entry right now into HKIA, which is the airport in Kabul.
And inside Kabul's airport, an estimated 6,500 people, mostly Afghans, were still waiting on a flight as of Tuesday morning. In Washington, Isabel Rosales, KPBS News.
Local doctors and hospitals are urging the county to reinstate indoor mask mandates and require proof of vaccination for indoor bars, restaurants, gyms, and entertainment venues. The San Diego County Medical Society and the Hospitalization of San Diego and Imperial Counties sent a letter to Public Health Officer Dr. Wilma Wooten. They point out that other big cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco already require masks indoors regardless of vaccination status. The county has not yet responded to the letter, only saying that it is reviewing it. Now that Pfizer's COVID vaccine has received full approval from the FDA, we could see more companies implementing vaccine mandates for employees. Many federal, state, and county workers, including all California teachers and healthcare workers, already face such requirements. An employment attorney told Midday Edition she believes more private companies will now follow suit.
There was an argument that was being made that because it was an emergency use authorization, that was unlawful in some way. I think that made employers uncomfortable, and now I think that full approval has been given. There's less likelihood for an argument to be made when a mandate is issued.
Today, Disney World announced it reached a deal with its union workers to get the vaccines. Employees with a medical or religious waiver have to apply for an accommodation. If they don't, they could lose their jobs. For the third time, the Padres are teaming up with the County of San Diego to offer vaccinations for COVID-19. But this time there are some extra incentives to get the shot. KPBS reporter John Carroll is live at Petco Park, where vaccinations are still being delivered tonight. John?
Maya, people started lining up just before 1 this afternoon here to get a jab. And as you can see just down the hill from me, there are still vaccinations being given out at this hour, although this is a very different scene than the superstation the Padres hosted months ago in their parking lot. These vaccinations being delivered at Gallagher Square on the north side of Petco. People lined up to get any vaccine they wanted, all three, J&J, Pfizer, and Moderna, all available. Padres CEO Eric Grupner says the team is motivated by the same thing that caused them to host the first super site in the state of California, helping the hometown community. Here's Eric Grupner.
Anything that we can do to help entice San Diegans to get vaccinated, we're here to do that. We think it's a way of keeping our community safe, a way of helping to save lives and move our region forward past this pandemic.
The Padres did their best to entice people to get the shot. The first 150 people to get vaccinated got a free pair of tickets to the September 8th game between the Pods and the LA Angels, and they also got a commemorative T-shirt. But that's not what drew Madeline Hake here. She talked to me about why getting a shot is, frankly, more important than tickets or a tea. Here's her message to her fellow citizens.
I think that they should take a look around at the rest of the world and see that these people are fighting for this vaccine and they have the opportunity to go to the Padres Stadium and get it for free. Then I think that people should take advantage of that opportunity.
I should note that Hake was the only person out of several that I asked who would speak to me. A few folks I asked seemed to be borderline angry to be here getting a shot. One told me that increasing vaccine mandates to get into businesses, or in some cases to work at various places, was forcing him to get the shot, and he was not at all pleased. On the lighter side, the Padres take on their longtime nemesis, the Dodgers, here. The game begins at 7:10 right here at Petco Park. Live at Petco, John Carroll, KPBS News.
More shots went into more arms in El Cajon this morning. The group's Champions for Health and Somali Family Service of San Diego hosted a pop-up clinic in the parking lot of the El Cajon Police Department on Magnolia Avenue. Vaccines were available for anyone 12 and older, and there was also food, diapers, masks, and other resources. Organizers say they'll hold another such event in the coming weeks so people can get their second shots. Children are left out of the FDA's full approval of the Pfizer vaccine. The shot is only approved for those aged 16 and older. Kids as young as 12 can still get it through emergency use authorization. Both Pfizer and Moderna have trials underway and hope they can get their vaccines approved for younger children soon. The U.S. Surgeon General says health officials will work to get that done as soon as they have the data that they need.
I think it's possible that we might see that process complete by the end of the calendar year. There is something really important we can do to protect our children, and that's to make sure that the people around them are vaccinated.
Dr. Anthony Fauci says he has no doubt the vaccines will be effective in children under 12. The issue is making sure they are safe for them. Masks are required in schools across the state and also in daycare centers for kids 2 and up. But as KPBS North County reporter Tanya Thorne shows us, one Oceanside center is letting parents make the choice to mask their kids.
Last week, Children's Paradise Preschool and Infant Centers sent out an email to parents and staff with a masking update. It read, Children's Paradise strives to remain a neutral party in the debate swirling around COVID-19, including masking, and for the reasons stated below, has chosen to adopt a parent choice, staff choice approach in determining how we will engage further masking. Marissa DeLuca's kids were at Children's Paradise in Oceanside when she got the email.
I was disturbed enough to pull them out of the daycare the same day. That day that I got the email ended up being their last day in care.
Children's Paradise has 5 locations throughout North County. They serve kids ages 6 weeks to 12 years old. We reached out to Julie Lowen, the owner of Children's Paradise Centers, but she declined an interview. In a statement, Lowen said they are prioritizing personal rights for children and their parents. Pursuant to these rights, Children's Paradise cannot force a child to wear a mask or even wearing shoes if a child refuses or the parent directs the child not to wear a mask or shoes. But this approach violates the state's childcare licensing rules. The state spokesman said failing to enforce masks could lead to fines or even losing your license. While looking for a new daycare for her children, DeLuca was surprised at how many facilities were not enforcing masks.
If nothing else, at least care about, like, this is your business and you're gonna, you potentially could lose your license. And I'm not to mention, I would imagine there would be some kind of liability if, let's say, a child caught it at a negligent childcare and, God forbid, lost their life. If that was my child, I would I would hold that place liable.
Cheryl Farmer, the director of Mini Miracles Academy in Oceanside, says mask enforcement isn't the easiest task when dealing with young kids.
They take them off, they pull them down, they don't keep them on their face. We have maybe 1 or 2 that does keep them on for the whole day.
Farmer says the parents often don't help with masks either.
It's a struggle to get parents to send masks with their children when they come in the morning. I've sent out notices saying that I would like them to wear a mask, but some come with it and some don't.
She says the center will start getting stricter with the use of masks among the kids. Tanya Thorne, KPBS News.
You don't see this every day. And thankfully, the pilot of a small plane had to make an emergency landing this afternoon on the I-5 near Del Mar. He clipped several vehicles on the southbound side near the Via de la Valle exit, slightly injuring 2 people and forced traffic to a crawl. The FAA is investigating just what went wrong with the single-engine Piper. The pilot and a passenger were not hurt. It's not officially open yet, but some local officials got a ride today on the Mid-Coast extension of San Diego's Blue Line Trolley. KPBS reporter Melissa May has the story.
A ribbon-cutting ceremony was held at the MTS Tecolote Trolley Station. This milestone signifies successful train testing and being one step closer to the full opening.
This special ride we're doing today is a part of our run-up to the full expansion, the 11-mile expansion, which will open later this year in November. We know transit works.
Supervisor Nathan Fletcher also described MTS's new fare collection system, Pronto, and it comes with an incentive to encourage public transit.
Free ride month. For the entire month of September, with your new Pronto card, you can ride all of our buses and trolleys fare-free.
Mayor Todd Gloria says this is not just a trolley station.
This is a jobs train for people in the South Bay who want access to the good-paying jobs up in the University Town Center area. This is an education train. This is an opportunity to get a one-seat ride to the incredible international institution that is UC San Diego. This is a healthcare train to give veterans the chance to go to our VA hospital.
The MTS Blue Line expansion provides a one-seat ride from the border to the UTC area.
The border is not a problem. It is an asset for our region.
Tijuana Mayor Carla Ruiz McFarland noted that the San Isidro station is one of the busiest MTS stations.
It's a symbol of everything that unites us. So every day, thousands of riders rely on the trolley to make vital connections to important destinations.
The public can enjoy the extension this Saturday, August 28th, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as part of the Mid-Coast on Morena Community Appreciation Festival. Melissa May, KPBS News.
Summer is for all of us. That is the message from Mayor Todd Gloria for his Come Play Outside summer program. The program is meant to make San Diego's learning, waterfront recreation activities, and even careers accessible to everyone in the county. Today, sport fishing industry leaders and other sponsors partnered with the city to invite 30 youth from all over San Diego to take part in an ocean excursion field day. The participants got to ride aboard the 85-foot Dolphin while learning about the ocean, the environment, and water safety.
When the youth catch their first fish, you can see the excitement on their faces. You know, it's a very emotional experience for them and a very exciting experience for them. And, you know, they're just smiling ear to ear when they catch their first fish.
Among some of the other activities within the program are teen nights at rec centers, arts and STEM programs, as well as movies in the park. Take a look at this, an orange tint to this morning's sunrise as smoke from wildfires burning up north makes its way down to Southern California. This picture overlooking Escondido is from one of SDG&E's alert wildfire cameras. The National Weather Service in San Diego says today is the thickest smoke we've seen so far this year, especially in the mountains and desert.
We're looking at some warm and dry days to come across southern portions of California. Gusty winds possible for some here, but temperatures are generally going to be about normal to a couple degrees warmer than that. Last week, we were actually a little bit below normal because of that trough that was digging on in. As we look ahead to tonight, temperatures fall back down to about 62 degrees in Oceanside and down in Escondido, getting down to 69 degrees in Mount Laguna. Over in San Diego, 69 for your overnight low, 66 over in Chula Vista. Big picture story here for your Wednesday. We have this little dip in the jet stream, which is going to try to push some cooler air further south, and along with that, some gustier winds. Although, again, that will likely be confined to some of the mountainous regions. Warm in the Four Corners region, and some of that warmth is going to get a little bit further west into some of the deserts, especially where temperatures are going to be warming up over the next couple of days. We're back up into the low 90s in Ramona, 93 in El Cajon, 108 over in Borrego Springs, and temperatures there are going to be on the rise to about Thursday. Thursday features a dry and even warmer day here, especially across southern portions of California. Near the coast, you'll notice a little bit of an increase in temperatures over the next couple of days, but it's likely going to be the interior sections that notice the most dramatic change. And we'll have to watch for that risk of gusty conditions here, because we're going to be talking about that dip in the jet stream, an active pattern here, which is going to continue to bring in gusty winds from time to time. Near the coast, temperatures generally warming up into the low to mid 80s here over the next couple of days. Again, I mentioned not a whole lot of change here because, again, water does act as a little bit of a moderator here for us. Further inland, temperatures go from the 80s into the mid 90s for your Thursday and Friday, so a little bit of an increase there. In the mountains, also temperatures going from the 60s last week back up to 80 degrees on your Thursday, upper 70s Friday and Saturday. And in the deserts, this is where we see the biggest change. We were in the 90s last week. We're going to be pushing 110, 111 by the time we get to Thursday. For KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Jessica Pash.
Inflation is triggering sticker shock at the grocery store. Mandy Gaither takes a closer look at which products are taking the biggest hit.
The price hikes keep coming. Prices for everyday goods and services rose in July by 5.4% compared to a year ago, according to the Labor Department's Consumer Price Index.
We have pent-up demand and we have big disruptions in supply, and they put pressure on prices.
Here's a look at the sticker shock people are experiencing right now. Women's dresses up about 19% in price over the last 12 months. Used car and gas prices up about 42%. Rental cars are up more than 73%. Experts say the pent-up demand for travel kept inflation hot.
It is not the 70s and the 80s.
but it is 3 to 4% inflation that will last for much longer than most people expect.
Americans are also paying more at grocery stores. Apples and milk up 6% over the past year. Fresh fish up more than 8%. Meat up nearly 11%. One food distributor says the price hikes are concerning.
I've been doing this for 35 years. As far as I'm concerned, I'm scared to the point of, are they going to stop buying the product?
It's still cheaper to head to the grocery store and enjoy a home-cooked meal. The price of food in restaurants or takeout saw a 4.6% increase compared to this time last year.
Well, we have to eat, so what can I say? A lot of times I have to compromise.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Work from home is coming to an end for many Americans, and that means pandemic pets will be home alone for the first time. Isabel Rosales spoke to a dog trainer about how to ease your pet's separation anxiety.
All right, guys, we're going to start off with just a normal activity.
Business is booming for pet sitting companies, setting new booking records as pet parents leave home.
Who's that?
So too is demand for pet adoptions.
The pandemic really opened the doors for people to try out adopting and fostering that have always wanted to try it.
While the Delta variant is placing many return to office plans on hold, for some workers like Genesis Torres, remote work is over. It means her pandemic pet, Benji, will stay home alone for the first time.
He usually gets really nervous, starts crying or whining.
That's why Torres turned to a professional dog trainer to address Benji's separation anxiety.
I just think it made me very anxious. I was concerned about if he would tear things up in the home, if I would get neighbors complaining about the noise level.
In a Washington, D.C. park, you'll find Scott Dancer, the dog wizard. His employees train people and their pets to face behavioral problems.
Separation anxiety is a buildup of mental energy in the dog's head.
Dancer says when you walk out the door, your dog's stress can manifest into noise and destruction.
They're just pack animals naturally, so they want to be with their pack and they get their confidence from the pack.
Dancer says there are 3 steps you can take at home to help them get ready for your return to office.
All right, thank you.
Before work, wear them out mentally with a structured walk full of commands.
That's a good girl.
Build their self-confidence. Dancer suggests command them to sit and walk away slowly. Repeat often so they learn.
Down. They don't have to be attached to you the whole time. They can be on this bench, mom can be over there, and nothing bad's happening to them.
And don't underestimate socialization.
Sometimes just exposing them to more confident dogs in a social situation like at your dog park or at the daycare, that confidence is going to rub off on one another.
He warns on your own, these techniques will take time and may not be a fix-all.
Maybe now they'll just go maybe whine for a few minutes instead of for a few hours.
In Washington, Isabel Rosales.
Legendary Rolling Stones drummer Charlie Watts has died. He passed away in a London hospital with his family by his side. Watts played with the Stones for more than 50 years, along with bandmates Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, and Ronnie Wood. Recently, the band shared that Watts had a medical procedure done for an unknown condition and because of that would miss the North American leg of their No Filter tour. Charlie Watts was 80 years old. Duran Duran, Elton John, and the Police recorded some of their biggest albums in the same studio on a tiny Caribbean island. As Rick Damigella shows us, a new documentary takes viewers back to the 1980s and that famous studio.
George's idea was to take people out of an environment, to put them into harmony with nature.
Going to Montserrat was like going into a dream.
Sir George Martin's Air Studios Montserrat is the subject of the documentary Under the Volcano.
It was so successful. It was a hit factory.
There's no question doing the 2 records in the Caribbean like that was very special and kind of magical in a way.
The Police recorded the Ghost in the Machine and Synchronicity albums at the studio.
In a way, it was so beautiful that could have been seen as a distraction. So rather than being, say, in London or New York and recording in a basement studio where you just be on the music, because you didn't want to go outside with all that. Outside was paradise hanging around. So, one had to be maybe ultra disciplined to be in the studio and focused on the music.
The music video for Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic was filmed in the studio, featuring Andy Summers' unusual dancing location.
You've got this I don't know, much, probably $2 million worth of recording desk, and you know, there's me like dancing across it like a light of foot. I'm a trained dancer. So I didn't actually hurt anything, but of course it's outrageous that I did that. But there you go.
There was no doubt there was a magic on Montserrat.
This was sort of the rock star dream.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
I'm Amna Nawaz. Tonight on the NewsHour, evacuations from Kabul airport accelerate, and women's rights advocates tell us their fears of Taliban rule. That's coming up at 7 right after Evening Edition on KPBS.
And here's another look at today's top stories. The Cajon Valley School District says 23 of their students are stranded in Afghanistan. District officials say students traveled there with their families for summer break. The director of Family and Community Engagement at Cajon Valley says their team is working with the federal government to help bring them home. And COVID-19 vaccinations are being offered again at Petco Park today. It's a special one-day pop-up clinic in partnership with the county. All 3 brands of the vaccine are being offered until 5 p.m. for the general public, and then from 5:30 to 7:30 for people with tickets to tonight's Padres game. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Good night.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley. And by the following: and by viewers like you. Thank you.